Hello, fellow students, teachers, and students also in TEDx clubs around the world. My name is Arya Adusumilli, and I would like to inform you all of the tragedy that we are completely oblivious to. That is, the common misconception that recycling happens on a daily basis. Now, you all have likely thrown some paper or cardboard into that familiar blue bin, that bin that you expect to go in some magical blue truck that travels to some magical blue factory that coincidentally does green things, specifically recycle all those largely non-biodegradable items. Many of you have probably seen that familiar local recycling company's logo, Grand Sanitation, and thought of them highly. But the notion that they recycle is an illusion. It indeed did used to happen inside of Grand Sanitation's factories and around the world, but this no longer is true. But it is imperative that people realize and act upon the following. Because recycling is no longer completely viable, people in the U.S. need to use less disposable goods and use more materials that easily biodegrade. Okay, so some backstory. A woman named Zhang Yin founded the first ever paper recycling company in 1995, which she named Nine Dragons. This company prospered, and eventually she became China's first female billionaire. Because of this newly created industry, China became the destination for recyclable materials around the world, and the rest of the world, the US and Ireland in particular, relied heavily on this service. It was to the extent that the US was exporting almost 700,000 tons of plastic a year, and it was turning the streets of China into one large public trash can, or in this case, a large recycling bin, and hurting the country financially. Some of this plastic was very expensive to recycle, as some contained food waste, and some was plastic wrap, which should not even have been imported into China in the first place, as it's not even recyclable. But unfortunately for the US and other countries, the Chinese government was in no way naive to the previous facts, and they knew that they had to double down on this. So in 2017, China began to ban some imports of recycling or plastic materials, and in 2018, it banned almost all of them. China took in less than 1% of its 2016 total last year. Knowing this, where do you think plastic in the US is ending up now? Landfills, which are unhealthy in and of themselves for the environment, but also runoff from these landfills can contaminate the water supply. Landfills can also create methane, which contributes to climate change. But not only that, the US is now burning plastic trash, which releases toxins into the atmosphere. But compared to some other countries, we have it easy. Australia has started to bury their recyclable waste. Ireland's waste levels are about to reach crisis levels. Canada has resorted to putting their recyclable waste in empty shipping containers and storing it there until they have a place to put it. There are even worse situations for people across Asia, but there are too many to name. It has become excessive and it needs to be controlled. So how do you fix these problems, you may ask? The answer is plain and simple. Don't use plastic. Instead of using plastic bags, use your own. Buy a reusable tote bag for around $12 on Amazon and use it to go grocery shopping. That right there can make a great dent in the amount of plastic waste. Another thing, don't use straws. According to NationalGeographic.com and plenty other sources, 500 million straws are thrown away by Americans alone every day. Just drink without one. And yet another thing, buy a refillable water bottle. Plastic bottles are bought in the quantity of 1 million per minute in the U.S., which as of Earth Day 2018, only 23% of which was recycled. Knowing about China's recycling ban, this number is going to probably very, very much lower now. Or if you are unable or unwilling to use a refillable water bottle, buy a water filter. Rather than buying a large case of bottled water, invest in a water filter to use with tap water and other public sources of water. Take action and put things into your own hands. Partake in community service. Imagine the good that would be done if all of us partook in a community service. There's nothing disgusting about that, and it would make for a great workout too. These little things can better the health of the environment tenfold, which you all can likely do, barely breaking a sweat. Little things that can literally be done in the span of 10 minutes or 30 seconds, simply by responding no thank you to would you like a straw at a restaurant. Or going to Amazon.com and typing in the search bar, reusable tote bag, and buying one for just $10. I encourage you to do these things. They are so easy, yet would be so effective if practiced commonly. So let's cut back. If even a small room's worth of people did not use plastic, it would still be better than if we did. The average person uses about 4 pounds of plastic trash in a year. There are around 12 of us here, so we would not use about 48 pounds of plastic. That's a good dent. And even so, 4 pounds of plastic is a lot of plastic. We can do better than that, so let's do it. And with luck, we won't be as dependent on recycling and landfills in the future, and we will take it into our own hands as a society to get our bearings and make serious improvements to the way we treat the earth. Thank you.